Hello everyone and welcome back to another Minecraft update video. It is Snapshot 18w49a and I am a Christmas Yeti for the month of December. Let's get that out of the way because we are not here to talk about that. I have been checking out the sweet berries and the sweet berry bushes that have been added to the taiga biomes in this snapshot. They all generate in taiga Hills and Taiga Mountains, and I deliberately came over to a location with a village as well so I could check the village out and see if the buildings have updated. But it's actually the Savanna and I believe the snowy villages that are changed in this snapshot. I am dead excited to check those out, but first of all I had to play around with the berry bushes and learn all I could about them, and then I went on to Minecraft.net and realised that all the things that I'd learned had already been explained. But I did learn a couple of extra little things, so I'm going to walk you through these berry bushes and all the facts about them. So the sweet berries are a food source and they have a little hidden secret we might get to see while we record here, but when you eat them they eat at a regular speed and it will give you 1 haunch of hunger on your hunger bar. Now when it's filled up all the way, the saturation it provides is enough to heal 1 heart of your health, and then the rest will come from your hunger bar. And we are not seeing the secret little feature. So that's the properties of the food. The secret feature is occasionally you burp and then you gain a little bit of extra hunger, which I thought was really interesting and not expected at all. So the berry bush block has 4 growth stages. When you place down the same item that you eat, you get a sapling. If we press F3 and look at this, you'll see on the right hand side we have the sweet berry bush and it is age 0. Now we can use bonemeal to grow this, however 1 bonemeal is 1 stage of growth, it never jumps higher than that. So we go up to age 1 and we don't have any berries on the bush. Age 2 we have a couple of berries, and age 3 we have even more berries. Then when we right click again, that's how you harvest the bush, and you can see the bush actually stays behind, but it's at age 1, not age 0 when it was a sapling. So you only need 2 more bits of bone meal to get it back to this bit here. So you're probably thinking about making some sort of farm with a dispenser, and what's interesting here is that the dispenser does not harvest the berries. So if I activate this clock, it grows all the way to the 4th growth stage, and then I have to right click on it. So I could stand here holding right click and you can see that it activates very fast. However, when we're doing that, we're actually harvesting it before it goes to the 4th growth stage. So growth stage 3, when you harvest it by right clicking, you'll get between 1 and 2 berries, and when it's growth stage 3 you can get between 2 and 3 when you right click it. The berry bush can be affected by the fortune enchantment, but you'll have to break it in order for this to work. So if I break it with this pick, you'll see we get a crazy amount of berries, and that's because I've got a ridiculous fortune level 100 on here. Something I point out, it doesn't actually break the durability of the pick when we harvest. And with fortune 3 you'll get between 4 to 5 sweet berries from the bush when you destroy it. It's also instant mine to destroy is another thing I've just noticed. And last of all, there is one other fantastic property about the sweet berry bush. When we place it down as a sapling and try to walk through it, you'll see that it actually slows us down, which is a nice thing to have. It could be useful. Be interesting to see if it slows down mobs and the like as well. Now when it grows to the next growth stage, it will actually do damage to the player, but this is only when the player moves. So I move into it, I take damage, but I'm standing still now. And if I move in again, it's doing about half a heart. And it's actually damaging me regular? No, it just seemed to give me twice for 1 movement. But then I can stand still again. Okay, and that damage amount doesn't change based on the amount of berries that are in the bush. Let's do the old zombie and villager trick. Okay, it's taking damage, and obviously the zombie meant the villager would move straight away. And it hurts hostile mobs as well, just wanted to confirm that. Although we can actually see this already, it slows down the mob as well. You can see it's clearly moving slow. So this will probably end up having some practical applications. My friends, it is time to check out the snowy village that has been added in this update. And when I say added, I mean there weren't snowy villages before. You can find these in the snowy tundra biomes, and they could be rather rare, as I spent a very long time teleporting around to many snowy places and finally managed to find one of these things. And it was worth it because I think the build style of this village is really cool. As always, villages have some trouble with the terrain, as you can see here, but the buildings themselves look fantastic. I'm a big fan of these really thick roofs. I think that suits the environment ever so much, and this one with a tower on top of it may remind you of the church-like building found in the regular villages, and inside of it is a brewing stand as well, so that is probably means that this is the equivalent of that building, right? There is also a lantern in here, and around the village you will see some lanterns. They have now been added to the villages, so that is a confirmed feature for this snapshot. And these buildings seem to be the equivalent of ones that you would find in other villages. We have our smithing table over here. This is the one with the fletching table inside of it. Our town centre has an ice spike instead of a well. There's also a bell here. We of course have buildings made entirely out of snow. These are the igloos. We've got one over here made out of packed ice, and this guy's just, standing in there facing the corner. And behind it there is also a little farming patch made with snow blocks around it. The loot tables also seem to be unique, as you can find snowballs in these chests, so we'll check that out and see if there is anything significant to mention. And we will see more of these villages later on in the video, as we're going to go into a flat world and show all of the buildings. And when we get to that world, there will be Savanna village buildings to check out as well, but I have come over here to a Savanna village to see what it looks like inside of the game, and the build style here is really fantastic. So over on this side you can see that there are some open stables with these cool roof designs. I'm really liking this. The Savanna village has a very different feel to it. Everything's a little bit more compact. There are some really cool design choices, like hanging banners off the side of a building. I just really like that. However, the interiors are often quite lacking, although these are villages we're talking about, so maybe I'm being a little bit critical. This over here appears to be one of those buildings that has a lectern. You can see this one is really small. Again, we have some banners over on this side. This one's got a grindstone inside, and this building has banners on the side and stilts down below it to hold it up. I am a big fan of this right here. I think this building looks absolutely gorgeous. And then we got one made out of clay as well. Next up, we're going to get a little bit technical, and I won't take up too much of your time. Over on Minecraft.net, where they post these snapshot changelogs, we have some real technical stuff going on right here, and I'm not going to pretend like I understand all of this, but I do understand this bit right here. Copies MBT from source to item tags. So in this game we have blocks and entity, and they store MBT data to say, hey, I'm not a regular purple banner, I'm one with a white fade from top to bottom. And then when we were to break this in survival mode, it would drop a banner that also remembers that it has the white fade. That is the MBT data, and that function was previously hard-coded. It's no longer hard-coded, meaning we can choose when we want to use it. So for example, we could have a slime with a custom loot table to remember what size it is, and then it could drop a spawn egg with that size included. So if we had a giant slime like this in the world, we could kill it, and because it's size 10, it would then pass that on to what it drops, which could be the spawn egg, and when you use that, you get a size 10 one. That's just like a rough idea, a rough example of what potentially can be done with this feature. Okay, the next thing to talk about is the raids, where the pillagers and illager beasts take on a village and you have to defend it. This is all started by killing one of those pillagers that has a banner, and then you get the bad omen effect. Now, I learned a lot more than I showed in one of my previous snapshot videos, and these things are subject to change. So at some point in the future, I'll do like a myth-busting episode breaking it all down once 1.14 has come out and this stuff is set in stone. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to catch that in the future. As of right now, I'll tell you about the changes in this snapshot. So when a raid occurs, there will be two waves. You have to kill all of the mobs in the first wave, and then there will be a second wave, and either of these waves always has a possibility to spawn an illager beast. Now, what I had learned previously is that the higher the bad omen level, the bigger, the stronger the raid would be, and that is still true, but only up to 5 levels. So we're going to go for the 4th level here, and I might jump into survival mode as well. I've given myself strength, resistance and regeneration, so I can basically just wander around and do whatever I like while this raid is happening. So we're going to give ourselves the bad omen effect, and interesting, I thought this thing lasted regardless of what time you give it, but that time you saw it disappeared. So let's give ourselves a longer value. Okay, we have the bad omen for a fixed amount of time. I don't know what you actually get from the pillager. Will it have a time? Will it be infinite? I thought it was going to be infinite. But anyway, we have bad omen level 5, and that should disappear when we go into this village, and then the raid could start. I might also need to be in survival mode. And I've wandered closer to the center of the village, so that might count for something as well. And now the raid has begun, and you can see that it is actually charging up. Oh, I wish I'd have stayed in creative mode, because somewhere around here we might actually see all of the mobs spawning. Let's actually switch back. Okay, they're coming from this side over here, so it must have spawned them. What direction is that? South of the village, and you can see this time we actually got an illager beast. So let's go back to survival mode, and I hope this thing don't find a way to kill me. I mean, I got some pretty good effects. Yeah, it's not going to do any damage to me. So we kill that guy in one hit, and already the meter has gone down a fair amount. And are they shooting each other? Yes, they are. Okay, let's punch all of these suckers out. There are 2 mobs remaining. Bam! Now there's 1 remaining. And I found that sucker. Bam! Okay, and the second wave is charging back up. This is really cool. Let's go and see if they come from the same direction. Maybe this time they'll approach the village from a different direction? Nope, they've come from the same side again, and I see 2 of them. Remember, this is a level 5 raid. And it's dead easy if you've got all of these effects. And the other ones look like they're stuck in the trees. What are you doing? You're supposed to be attacking the village. Okay, and that guy there is the last mob. Ugh, kill him. And apparently there is now a 3rd wave. I was not expecting this. So I'm standing where they spawned last time, which I think might have encouraged the game to spawn them on a different side. And I've taken a look at the patch notes again and realised that I've read this incorrectly. It is actually 2 waves for every bad omen level. That means we're going to go through 10 waves in total, and I'm interested to see what happens at the end of those 10 waves. I believe a witch can be a part of the raid as well. Does this mean a witch is technically an illager? I don't think it does, but there you go. Okay, that was wave number 4, and it had a total of 10 entities. So I'm going to keep track and see if we get more entities with each raid. Okay, they all spawned in a pack over on this side together. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yes, with each 2 waves, the numbers are definitely going up. They went from 8 to 10 to 11 to 12, and now up to 14 or so. There they are, they're running through the trees, and this time we've got an evoker with them. Wow, it's an absolute army coming through this area. And that time a total of 17 mobs raided the village, and I believe that was actually the very last wave as well. I gotta say, this is really cool. It'll be such a fun challenge to, you know, get yourself up to Bad Omen level 5 and then try and survive the raid. But I think at the end of it, there should be some sort of reward. You should get some kind of item or something special, you know. Like our last snapshot video, we have a lot of buildings set out in this flat world, and I'm going to try and get through this much quicker than last time. So first of all, we have a couple of animal pens. Then we have the armorer building, which has a glazed terracotta on the inside. We will see more of them. This is the butcher's shop. You can see it's got a clay floor. And then we have the cartographer building, which we've seen already. The next one is the fisher cottage. And once again, there are barrels here. And at this point, I think it's pretty obvious that barrels are going to be for storing fish. We then have the Fletcher house. This one makes use of clay. And there's a fletching table on the inside. We have a couple of large farms. Here is the library building, which we've already seen. And then we have the mason building. I'm liking the glazed terracotta. And on the inside, we have a stone cutter. Then we have a couple of medium houses. This is actually one medium house. 2 of them joined together. This is the second type of medium house. And then we have the shepherd's building. Nothing too interesting on the inside, just the loom block. We've got another farm over here. And then we have all of the small houses, and you can see they come with 3 different types of clay. Then we've got the one with banners around the outside. This one's more of a larger house with a 2nd floor up there, and then there's a couple of other smaller houses as well. This building is the tannery, and it seems to be rotated different from the others as its entrance is on the back. And then we have the 2 temple buildings. This one's got these pillars and banners around the outside. I think that is a nice touch. And there it is on the inside, a brewing stand. This one is the toolsmith building with a smithing table on the inside. We then have 2 weaponsmiths. This one's rotated the wrong way around. This one here using a lot of smooth stone, and if you go on the inside we have one of those rotated off of the wall. And last of all, we then have our 4 town centres. I think that one there didn't have any bells, and then the last 3 have bells in them. And now onto a snowy world for all of the snowy buildings. First of all, we got 2 animal pens. Then we have 2 armourer houses, and in here you'll see diorite. We're going to see plenty more of that later on, and this house is basically identical to the following one, which is the butcher's shop. So you can see only one block on the inside has changed there. This is also a butcher's shop as well. I'm going to guess that animals spawn in the pen at the back. This double-roofed building is the cartographer's house. You can see the cartographer table just over there, and it's followed by a couple of small farms. Then we have the fishing cottage, and this one, once again, has some barrels on the inside. We have the library here with a lectern, and then we have 2 masons' houses. You can see the stone cutter on the inside. And this one, again, full of diorite, making use of diorite stairs as well. We then have 3 medium houses, an igloo that's facing the wrong way, one made out of packed ice, and this interesting building here, where it has its entrance on the side. However, there's little interior room, but there is a second floor. This is the shepherd's building. You can see the looms on the inside, and then we have a whole bunch of small houses built in various different styles. I like this one because the roof touches down all the way onto the ground. We got another igloo, and then we got one with a mix of packed ice and snow. Those 3 buildings are also small houses. Then we have the tannery. You'll see a diorite wall on the inside here, and there's the cauldron full of water. We then have the temple building, which we've already seen. This is the toolsmith's building. So there's a smithing table. And then we have the weaponsmith building, which uses a lot of diorite, as you can see, going quite ham with that there. And there's another stone cutter on the inside. And last of all, that of course leaves us with our town centres. This is the one that we've seen, and there are 2 other types. And that brings us to the end of this snapshot video. So if you've enjoyed it, please do leave a like. It supports the channel, and as always, thank you ever so much for your support. I will see you next week with another snapshot, hopefully, and that might be the last one before Christmas. So there you go. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.